What's up, everybody? This is Cool Dude, and judging by all the views that the first tier list has on my channel, I figured, hey, why the heck not? It's time to do another tier list. And today, we're going to be doing the Marvel movies. There is not going to be a haven't seen category this time, because I've seen every Marvel movie that there is to date, at least in the MCU. I love Marvel, I love the MCU, I love the comics, I love the characters, everything about it, better than DC, don't at me, I don't care. Anyway, we have tiers here. Judging by the video quality, I'm assuming you guys can't see them, so the bottom is the worst, pretty self-explanatory, bad, then yellow, okay, this is good, it's amazing, and then instant classic right up here on the top. So, these are in no particular order, the movies are right here, so let's get on with it. First, The Avengers is an instant classic. There's no denying the Avengers definitely set up the MCU for the crossover movies and the majority of the Avengers movies that would follow. And the Avengers was just an amazing piece of cinema. You can't act like you weren't absolutely shocked or absolutely amazed by what you were seeing in the theater and what an impact it's made on cinema. So for that, this gets an instant classic. The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. I would say this movie's bad because it definitely is not bad. It's just, compared to everything else in the MCU, it just feels a little out of place, tone-wise, because after the Hulk, they kind of treated him as a joke, and this was the last time the Hulk was serious, so you know what, this gets good, because I like this movie. I think if they really went down the path with the Hulk, which, by the way, that's one of the minor things I do hate about the MCU. I love the Marvel, as a cinematic universe and in the comics, I love Marvel, but just some of the choices the MCU makes I don't really approve of, and one of them is the treatment of the Hulk, because they treat him as a laughingstock throughout most of the movies, which is not how his comics are, so that kind of makes me mad, but nevertheless, the Incredible Hulk gets good. Captain America: The First Avenger. You also get good. It's by no means perfect. There are definitely flaws, particularly with Red Skull, and how he's just kind of a meh villain throughout. Hugo Weaving does a great performance, but when, the Red Skull actually shows up, it just looks like fake CGI and a plastic skull, so it's, not really the greatest, so you get good. Oh boy! Iron Man 2. Yeah, you're bad. I wouldn't say it's the worst, because there definitely is the worst out there. And actually, let's get this out of the way. Thor: The Dark World, you're the worst. That is the only Marvel movie I would actually put in the worst category. Literally nothing about that movie works for me. I hate it. It's a crime against Marvel. The fact that it even exists is just a sin. I'm sorry if you like it. I don't like it at all. Aside from Loki, that movie is just unbearable to sit through. I was so bored out of my mind watching that. Anyway, back to Iron Man 2. Sorry about that rant. Iron Man 2, it just kind of feels dull and just bland. Black Widow isn't really that interesting in the movie. The villains are kind of a bore, and they do the whole businessman thing like they did in the first Iron Man movie again. They really mistreat Whiplash as a cool villain. So Iron Man 2, you just get bad. Avengers: Infinity War already goes into the instant classic, no question. This film was awesome. This film was highly built up. This film was pretty much the culmination of 20 films all leading up to the entrance of the big bad Thanos, and it worked really, really well. So this gets an instant classic for me. It seems kind of typical to put Avengers: Infinity War in instant classic, but what are you going to do about it? It's that good. Black Panther is... I really only give it actually, I'll give it an amazing. The only reason I give it an amazing is because of Killmonger as a villain. I really like Killmonger, how they treated him in this movie. I really like that aspect of the film, but then everything else is kind of just, stereotypical Marvel stuff. But, it looks cool. Action is pretty decent. Again, Killmonger is probably one of the best villains in the Marvel MCU history, so there's that for going forward as well, so you get amazing. Captain America: Winter Soldier definitely gets amazing, no question. Winter Soldier is a huge improvement from the first Avenger in terms of character development, in terms of villains, in terms of twists. But God, I mean, for the love of God, the twist in this literally sees the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, that is just a major event, especially since we were prone to think that the S.H.I.E.L.D. was this really great organization, and then we come to find out they're Hydra agents. That was a huge, shocking moment. So for that, Captain America: The Winter Soldier gets amazing for that. Definitely not an instant classic, but I definitely give it the benefit of the doubt and give it amazing. Ant-Man and the Wasp. You're okay. I mean, I'm not hating on it. I'm not hating on Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's a decent film. I just think the first film was a lot better in terms of the humor, the pacing, the sort of, I guess, action sequences. Because even the climax of this movie, I feel is kind of, like, it doesn't feel like a climax to me. It feels more like a middle of the movie kind of action sequence, not a big whole end of the movie sort of fight scene. So for that, Ant-Man and the Wasp just gets okay for me. But I still like it. Thor Ragnarok. You get the good. Not amazing, because admittedly, some things about this movie just don't work for me. You know what? You get amazing. I can't lie to myself. Nah, you get amazing. Thor Ragnarok, has some great comedy. The villain is absolutely great. The action is great. It was definitely what Thor needed, for the MCU, because the films were really struggling on a financial and critical level, because, my God, I mean, they weren't struggling. I mean, they're still making money, but, like, you know, just the audiences were not having it with Thor, so this was definitely the revival that he needed. So Thor Ragnarok, you get amazing. Avengers Endgame, instant classic. In fact, I want to make sure Endgame is... Why isn't this thing moving to the left? There you go. I want to make... Okay, is that focused? I'm not really sure. God, why does this always come out crappy? I'm sorry, I'm trying everything I can in the lighting here, but it's just not working. I'm sorry. Anyway, Avengers Endgame, I want to make sure it's at the front of the tier, because this is the best Marvel movie that they've ever made. Like, they did an awesome job putting everything to a close. I know there's there's definitely a few plot holes in the movie that don't really make sense, but you can't argue that as a whole, like, as a movie for what it represents and what it did, Avengers Endgame is the best Marvel movie to date, and I don't care what you think, that's just true. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, this is a very split movie. I know that some people hate it, some people love it. I'm on the don't like it category. I'm just gonna put it at okay. It's not as good as the first film, in my opinion. Just the humor is not as good. The whole like storyline I don't think is as good as the first movie, and the whole ending action sequence just drags on way too long for me compared to the other movie. That feels like it ended at just the right point it needed. This one just feels like, okay, we get it. They're gonna plant the bomb. They're trying to do all this, and like the action itself in there is not that interesting to me, and the whole like, what is it, Sovereign storyline is not that interesting. Just some things about that movie just didn't really click with me, so that's why it goes into the okay. Thor, the first film. You get good, because Thor is not a perfect film. No, it's not. Loki is kind of in this movie. He's not as good as he is in the Avengers, which I'm glad that they revived his character in that movie, because he is just a bland villain here in this movie. But like Chris Hemsworth's Thor is like one of the perfect, best castings of a character since Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. I can't believe that Tom Hiddleston was originally scripted to play Thor. Oh God, imagine that. But regardless of that, still, Thor is a pretty good movie. The whole fish out of water story isn't very original. It's been done to death a few times before. But they still handle it well for the story itself, and some of the action sequences are pretty good. I guess my problem is it's just not that great compared to everything else, and Loki's kind of a bore, so that's why it's only a good. That's why it's there. So that's where I put Thor in this tier list. Doctor Strange, it's okay. I know it's kind of a weird opinion of Doctor Strange, but it's all right. The visuals, I think the best part of the movie is definitely the visuals. I mean, it's like really awesome. It gives me very Inception vibes from it in the best way possible. So that's really good. Other than that, it's kind of the standard Marvel formula for a movie. I mean, I like Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch does a great job playing him. And but other than that, I didn't remember the villain that well. I didn't really remember some of the characters in it. It's just a okay movie. Really like Doctor Strange's character though. Iron Man. Now, the MCU wouldn't have existed without this movie. And I'm not gonna fault it for that, because Iron Man is basically the start of the MCU. This is where it starts. You wouldn't have Spider-Man Homecoming or Ant-Man or the Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy without Iron Man's existence. And as a movie, Iron Man is good. It's probably the best of the Iron Man trilogy for me, because Iron Man is a really solid, story about this rich billionaire who's just so obsessed with himself and doesn't care about anything, that slowly grows to understand the consequences of his actions and understand how many people are hurt in the world, and uses his genius to build suits to help protect the world. And that's just such an inspiring story, and I love it so much. That's why Iron Man is my number one favorite hero of all time. I love him. My God. Anyway, there goes the end of my nerd rant, but yeah, that's why Iron Man's that good. The only reason it's that good is just because the villain, and really just how the fight scenes itself are just kind of They don't really forward the story at all. Avengers Age of Ultron. This is an interesting case, because it's not an instant classic, not by a long shot, but I also don't think it's bad. I think people hated on it a little too much when it came out. Just a little bit. But still, I'll give it good. I think that's a good way to put it. It's a good film. I think it's a good film. It's not amazing. It's nowhere perfect. It's just, Avengers Age of Ultron is a good movie. I think that's a good place to put it. Guardians of the Galaxy, you get the amazing. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Humor is great. Character development is pretty good. It's a perfectly insane movie, but like the premise itself is insane, so it's like I think it works in that regard. And while the villain may be kind of again, I notice a lot of these villains, Marvel villains in the earlier days, are kind of I'm starting to notice, but still, like, the characters are likable, have some good action sequences, the humor really lands. It's a good movie. It's amazing. And that's why Guardians of the Galaxy falls here. Captain America Civil War. An interesting take on the Civil War comic, and I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the comic, for obvious reasons. But I still put it at... I'll put you at amazing. Just because I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I mean, it was pretty good. It was a really good movie for what it is. But it's nowhere, I guess I'm putting it in amazing and not instant classic, because it's compared to like the comic book, which you should really read the comic book. It's an amazing story, really well developed. It just doesn't feel like, this is the MCU's version of Civil War, and that works fine for the MCU. Captain Marvel. Oh God, this character sucks. I hate her. But movie itself, it's just okay. I don't know how I feel about Captain Marvel, if I'm being honest. As a movie, yeah, the twist villains are pretty clever. Samuel Jackson looks weird, young. Captain Marvel herself, like, I was expecting her to be way better in Endgame, and by God, barf. Her character just got barfed on. My God. So that's why it falls in okay, not anything else. So yeah, just Captain Marvel, you get okay, not anything else. So yeah. Ant-Man, you get amazing, because I love Ant-Man. It's kind of the same with Guardians of the Galaxy, except it's not as insane. It's more just kind of goofy, with the whole Ant-Man, power and how weird it sounds as a superhero concept. And this. But it, has some creative action sequences. The characters are really likable. My God, I just burped. Sorry about that. But, yeah, like I was saying. The villain, again, kind of a bore villain. We've seen it before. But, again, creative action, creative characters, and makes this an amazing film. Spider-Man Homecoming gets good. It's nothing amazing, nothing instant classic. Spider-Man Homecoming is just the perfect Spider-Man's introduction to the MCU movie. It's a good film. I like it a lot. And it's just perfectly a fun film. It's fun. Not anywhere deep or meaningless. But what that really is... Sorry, I was practicing my beatboxing skills. Anyway, Spider-Man Homecoming is just the perfect fun film, which is arguably what Spider-Man should be as a character. Iron Man 3. Action sequences are better than the first film. You get bad. I'm sorry. Iron Man 3 gets bad. Just because the Mandarin as a villain is just wasted. Like, they build up Ben Kingsley so much and then they just throw him away in a joke. I guess it's kind of funny, but not really. And, so Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is, as always, is fantastic. Love him. But the kid, is good. Actually, no, I'll give it okay. I don't feel like giving it bad. Wow, Iron Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World. I think that's the two worst films that Marvel has put out, in my opinion. Those two are the only bad ones. Some would say that The Incredible Hulk should be down there, but I honestly think that people hate on that movie way too much. It does have problems, but you know what? It still thinks good. And finally, the most recent, Spider-Man Far From Home. You get amazing, because that is just the perfect Spider-Man movie. It takes everything that the first film did and, like, makes it a lot better. And the fact that they had J.K. Simmons comes back, like, oh my god, I love this movie. It's an awesome movie. A lot better than the first film in every way. Just love it. So, that is my Marvel MCU movies tier list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'd like to do more of these tier lists. It's actually kind of fun to do. Seeing my opinions on, like, a tier list screen. If I had to make one change to this tier list, I'd say, maybe Thor, it'll just be okay. Thor is just, the first film is just kind of okay. Like, nothing memorable. It's a funny enough movie. It's good. The starting story for Thor is just okay. But, that is my official Marvel tier list. Other than Thor being placed at okay, there's nothing I would change about this tier list. It's perfect, in my opinion, for my opinions on the MCU. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more, leave a like in the comments, and let me know in my Discord server. Be sure to join that. And until next time, guys, stay cool, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, y'all.